What's up, guys? My name's Mike, and welcome to my series. So after months of procrastination, we'll say actually the last couple of years, I've been filming content with the whole intention of doing a whole YouTube series and video series, and I've yet to do it. The last couple of months, I've had a lot of really good encouragement from several people. Hey man, you should make a series. Hey man, you should make a series. Hey man, you should do YouTube videos. I get it. I'm going to go ahead and try it. I can't promise they're going to be the most amazing thing in the world, but I'm going to give it a shot. So some of you may know me for this car, which is my 1990 Nissan 240SX. This car has taken close to 7 years to build. It's definitely been a headache, but I really do love my car. Yes, it is overbuilt for what I do with it, which is mainly grassroots events. I did build a Pro-Am car, but I wanted to just have fun and build the car the way I wanted it. So with the help of friends throughout the years, I've made this car what it is, and I'm really proud of it. So I'll show you guys more about it later and kind of show you some of the different things that I've done, whether it be just retrospect of where I come back with videos that I made from last year when I was doing some different fabrication and building on it, when I did the dash and stuff like that. I'll show you guys some of that, but this series is going to start out with this car. So this car is actually the 240SX that kind of got it all started for me and what kind of fueled the fire. This is my buddy's 1991 Coupe. So Tommy bought this car back in 2009, and sometimes you'll hear me refer to Tommy as my brother, and that's because Tommy and I have been great friends for the past 12 years. And in some sense, I look at him as a sibling. So he had a K in this thing for the longest time. He bought it in 2009. Fast forward to about 6 years ago, right after I got my 1J in my car, I had a really good opportunity pop up for an absolutely cheap Rb25, which has always been his dream swap, is putting an Rb25 in this car with a Sylvia K front end. So guy owed me some money, had that engine sitting there. I basically canceled the debt and just let Tommy make up the difference, and there we go. So unfortunately, life kind of got in the way with Tommy, just work, business, it all happens to the best of us. And Tommy wasn't able to, really get the swap finished. So the car is just kind of sat around collecting dust, and I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the head on the bench and show you guys how I extracted both of the broken exhaust studs that I found in this head. I will say this. No, I'm not a professional shop. Yes, I do have extensive knowledge. I mean, I have 11 years in aviation along with 14 years of building cars and motorcycles. I started when I was 16 tinkering. So I have a really good foundation and knowledge for this. That being said, there's always ways to improve, and there's always better ideas or new ideas I just don't know of. So take everything I do with a grain of salt. Hopefully this is encouragement and ideas for the next guy that's either learning and wants to try something and is just a little bit intimidated, or maybe it's for the seasoned guy that's been doing stuff that goes, I never thought of it that way. And the same goes for me. If there is something you see that I'm doing that could be done better, or it's another idea and you just want to throw it out there, throw it out there. It's not going to bother me. I'm humble enough to say, hey, I'm not the best at anything. I am confident in my abilities, but I'm always willing to learn and grow, as at the end of the day, I'm just hoping to share my knowledge and my abilities with others and give them ideas, and hopefully encourage more people to jump into project cars and not just be intimidated by them, because it can be a very intimidating thing to try to buy a project and go, all right, I'm going to do this, and then start finding broken bolts and different problems and leaks and whatever the case may be. These can get overwhelming extremely quick, especially for somebody that doesn't have a ton of experience. So whether you're just getting into cars for the first time as a young person, or maybe you're just late in life getting into project cars and you need some ideas or some encouragement or guidance, feel free to hit me up, as at the end of the day, I'm just wanting to encourage those to enjoy the same motorsports and passion that I have. So I've got my spring-loaded center punch here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a few clicks in the center of the bolt. And the reason why is this gets a really good detent for your drill bit to bite into. And I'm using an 1/8 inch drill bit in this instance. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my pilot hole, and then you're gonna see that I'm gonna go ahead and put some paper towels in there. And that's just to keep from any metal shards going down or trash going into the exhaust ports. So now I've got my extractor and I'm starting to extract out, and you'll notice that I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna use an awl, and you can use a pick also, and I'm just gonna clean any threads that are in there because I was worried about possibly having issues. So I'm gonna take my hammer now and put some nice little love taps, and that's just to help get the extractor bit to seat really well into this broken stud. And then I'm just going to lefty-loosey and twist it right on out. And as you can see, it really didn't fight me, so I didn't have to get out the welder with a nut and weld it out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move to the other side and show you guys that in a time-lapse motion of the same process. Went ahead and pulled the studs back off. We had set them in place. We had two that when we went to screw in on the back set, we're just a little hesitant going in. So, rather be safe than sorry, went ahead and ordered a tap in the correct size, and I'm gonna go ahead and just chase the threads. Just make sure there's no grime or buildup or rust or anything. Put a little bit of WD-40 in the hole, go ahead and run it down, back up and down, just to go ahead and clean and make sure that everything's good, and then blow all the holes out before going ahead and putting the ARP head studs on. So I'm gonna do that now, and I'll do a time lapse so it's a little bit picked up and you can kind of see what I'm doing, but it's not dragging along. And then hopefully here in a few minutes, I'm gonna be putting the head onto this engine for the final time. Alrighty, so I'll kind of talk you guys through what I'm doing now. Is I am starting to put the ARP head studs back into the block. So it was in fact that there must have been some grime or dirt or buildup that something got in there, and it was actually this one here and this one here, and this is the one that has the guide in it for the head dowel, if you want to call it that. But anyways, yep. So it used a 11 by 1.5 is the thread pitch. So if any of you were ever putting together an RB and have that and want to just go ahead and chase the threads to be safe, or you know, have some sort of issue where you break one or mess up the threads, you're looking for an 11 by 1.5, and that's going to be the tap that you need to chase these holes. So I'm going to go ahead and just run them down by hand right now, as far as I can, and then I'm going to come back through with my Allen wrench and just put everything the way ARP tells you to. So after I get these kind of just run down by hand, I'm going to go ahead and grab the manual from ARP and read the instructions. Whew, still fighting allergies. I came back from Formula Drift, Utah, and whatever fall things bloom or come alive in the South absolutely whooped on me for about a week. I was dying. And it didn't help that I also went up to Northwest Arkansas and drove the 240 for you know, hours with the windows down through the mountains, stirring up more dust and debris, but I don't regret it. It was fun. I'm going to go ahead and use ARP's supplied lube that they have, and I'm going to go ahead and coat the bottom side of each nut and both sides of the washer, and that's just to keep from any binding issues when we're doing the torquing process. Now here comes the moment of truth. Somehow wrangling this head on there by myself, without damaging anything, over all them studs, and hopefully putting it exactly where it needs to be in one shot. So now I'm going to muscle the head, hopefully not to tear off the camera. Alright, so far so good. Might be bound up just a little bit. Come on. Everybody, come on. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Woo! That was only slightly stressful. I have found forceps to be a very, or long needle pliers, whatever you want to call them, to be a very helpful tool in tight situations. Hardware installed. I'm going to go ahead and do my torque sequence, and I'm going to go by Nissan's manual, and I'm going to go ahead and start with a round of 20 foot-pounds, then come back at 50 foot-pounds, and then finish off at 80 foot-pounds with a bump check. And that's going to make sure that I've got proper torque through the entire head, and the head is officially torqued. The long block is basically together, minus all the timing components and whatnot. But the block itself has been painted, head is installed, it's all clean and looking a lot nicer. Valve covers are dropped off, and the intake is dropped off to Tommy's local powder coater down there close to him, who is going to go ahead and get those coated in, they're going to blast them and coat them in that more wrinkled black color. It's a more satin color. Looks really good, and it's clean, and it'll look really good in this engine bay. So that's where we're at there. I'm going to go ahead and try to get the timing cover, or the timing and accessories all put on the engine later on this week, and make some more forward progress with it. Figured I'd tell you guys a little bit about FD Utah, which was an absolute experience and a half. So to say that I had the time of my life is an understatement. For me to get to experience a pro spec team and have a responsibility like that, and I loved every second of it. It did make me realize that I need to learn a whole lot more about suspension geometry and also about what's required out of a spotter, as obviously it was my first time. Now, luckily, there were a few spotters up there that were really helpful and kind of gave me some tips and tricks, which I was extremely thankful for. Just a great experience in general, man, and I look forward to next season, and we'll see what happens just in general of maybe getting to help out again. We'll see how everything lays out with this off season. Even so, getting to see Javier's car, it impressed me when I saw it at LS Fest, because his car is a perfect example of you don't have to overbuild your car. Unfortunately, sometimes we get so caught up with what the internet says or what people say is, oh, I have to have a winners, and oh, I have to have, you know, a dog box and all this kind of stuff in order to be competitive. You don't. Javi's car puts pro car smoke out of a pro spec car. With his supercharged LS3, and it's fantastic. And he's running a T56 Magnum with an R200. He's just done the appropriate things to make sure that that car holds up. And it's a very competitive car, and it's a very fast car, and it was impressive for me to see, because it's a reminder that, hey, you don't have to overbuild your car. I know, I'm one to talk. I've built a Pro-Am car, and I'm doing, you know, grassroots stuff with it. But, you know, I built it the way I wanted to. But just seeing Javi's car like that, and then spending time with him and his dad and Melvin and Jacob, and just getting to know those guys, man, just a fantastic program, man. Really good, humble people, and I really enjoyed my time out there. So looking forward to see what happens next year. I will throw in some different videos of Javi, like in practice and his runs. Utah was definitely a fast track, so it was neat getting to see it, man, and getting to experience it firsthand, and, you know, getting to learn about the judges. Anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully I haven't bored you to death. Hopefully there was some decent informational videos, and I will try to put some more content out here soon. Thank you guys, I appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you next time.